So this is the most probably this is the longest chapter in PMBOK based on the page size. And for CAPM exam, lot of questions will come from this chapter, schedule chapter. So this is a huge chapter. Let me share my screen. This one. Okay. So let me open folder. Live training. So where are we? In a scope chapter. Just let me show you. So can you see my table? This table? Project management. So it is visible, right?
Yes, visible.
Yeah, okay. So this matrix table, I actually again and again refer this table. So what we did so far in related to a scope chapter, we just finished all these processes, right? Plan scope management, collect requirements, define scope, and creating WBS. So these four we have already finished, and all these are actually planning process groups processes. That means these four processes are to plan your scope, plan your project scope. All right, scope of work. So our planning is done and our scope is finalized. And that finalized scope is named as scope baseline, right? So that the finalized scope is known as scope baseline. So scope baseline means there are three documents, right? Scope statement, WBS and WBS dictionary. These three documents together known as scope baseline. So this is the final copy. Now, when this final copy will be ready, then in execution, actually, there is no process in scope management. That means scope is finalized, then our duty will be to this one actually, this process, direct and manage project work. That means based on this scope of work, we'll direct and manage project work and create deliverables. Deliverables. We'll create deliverables based on this scope using this process. And this process main output is deliverable or output. So this deliverable will come here to validate a scope. Validate a scope means you have to involve your customer and they will check, they will verify, and they will accept whether it met their requirement or not. Based on that, they will validate your scope. If they validate the scope, then the scope will be accepted deliverables. That means these deliverables are accepted by customers. But if some deliverables is not accepted, then actually change request will be fire up, and then you have to again do the work if customer doesn't accept your deliverable based on valid reasons. All right. So now we will see these two processes. These two processes are based under monitoring and control process group. So validated scope is you are involving your customer to accept the deliverables. Control scope is actually your team's work. This is the main difference between these two. Team's work. That means this is the scope baseline. Now, based on this, whether your team is delivering the right scope or not within the boundary, set boundary. That is the scope of control scope. All right. So your team will use this process to verify that whether you are delivering the right scope or not within the boundary or not. So that will be done by control scope. So actually these two processes will not be happen only once. It is actually iterative. Both these two are iterative. Whenever any deliverable is created, you will check through control scope within your team, and after that checking, you will send to customer or involve your customer, demonstrate to your customer that same deliverable, and if they accept, then that is actually accepted deliverable. All right. So let me go back to my presentation slides. So that is the actually main theme. if you have any question, that is the main theme of these two processes.
Scope baseline consists of three things, right?
Right.
WBS, then
WBS dictionary,
WBS dictionary, and work
project scope statement.
Project scope statement. Okay.
All right. So one thing you should always remember that if there is the reference of WBS, then WBS dictionary should also be there, because WBS dictionary is the interpretation of WBS, the detailed description. So everywhere WBS and WBS dictionary will come together. Okay, so validated scope is the process of formalizing acceptance by the customer of the completed project deliverables. Okay, that I just mentioned. And the thing I try to make you understand. So after execution, when you are doing project plan, so scope baseline is also part of project management plan, the final planning document. So following that document through direct and managed project work, okay, we'll create deliverables. And that deliverable will go to another process. This is actually quality chapter process, control quality, to check the quality of the deliverables, whether it is meeting all the quality requirements or not. So that you have to ensure through control quality. This is also your team's quality assurance team's work. In software industry, we have a team that is a testing team or SQA team, software quality assurance team. So their duty is to অনেকে কি বের হয়ে গেল নাকি কোন ইন্টারনেটের কারণে নাকি না ওকে ফ্লাকচুয়েট হতে থাকে আর কি কানেক্টিভিটির so control quality is under quality knowledge area, and through that my team QA team is actually verifying whether it is all the deliverables are meeting all the quality requirements or not. So if all the requirements met, then it is known as verified deliverables. That means we have verified, my team, this is team's work. My team already verified that there is no error, no bug, no defect in this deliverable. So with that error-free, defect-free, verified deliverable, it will be input at validated scope. All right, and we'll involve our customers here. See, this is the important difference between validated scope and control scope and control quality. Control quality and control scope both are actually my team's work. This is the inside team's work, project team's work. But when you are doing validated scope, then you will involve your customer. In Agile, this event is known as iteration review or sprint review. Iteration review or sprint review. That means at that time, our project team will demonstrate our product or deliverable to the customer, physical product. So that is in Agile arena, that is known as iteration review or sprint review. Okay, so customer will be involved, and if they accept the deliverable, then that will become accepted deliverables. And as I mentioned, this process will be iterative in nature. That means every time you will create some product, some deliverable, some output that will come through here, and all accepted deliverable will be collected from customer. Then finally, all accepted deliverable will go to the last process, close project or phase. And with that, those all deliverables which are accepted by customer will deliver customer the final product or service or result that we are creating by this project.
end-to-end বলবেন iterative যে প্রসেসটা এই যে কন্ট্রোল কোয়ালিটি এন্ড ভ্যালিডেট স্কোপ এটা একটু আরেকবার বলবেন রিএমফাসাইজ করুন
So there are 49 processes in PMBOK, right? 49 processes, and only one process actually doing the work, doing the execution. And the name of the process is direct and managed project work. So when this process will start, when all the planning will be done. then this process will start, and it will start creating deliverables. All right. So if you are building a house, the piling will be done, or foundation will be done. So that is actually deliverable, or architecture design done.
Yeah.
So that is that design is deliverable. So that deliverable will be the requirements, because if we cannot meet the quality, then actually customer will not accept. ক্লাস রুলে ফোন দেখেন, রুবেল ফোন দিচ্ছে কেন দেখো তো। হ্যালো, okay, I think you missed some part, I think, because one guy was calling me. All right. So through direct and managed project work, the team will create deliverables, and that deliverable will be sent to the testing team, all right, by inspection team or QA team. So their focus will be whether all the deliverables met the quality requirements or not, because we know scope and quality goes hand in hand. So you have to satisfy your customer. All the test results should be passed. So if it is passed, then that verified deliverables will send to this process as input, validated scope. And here we'll involve our customers. All right. So they will check, and finally they will accept deliverables. And everywhere, if there is any error, any defect, then actually that will again, through change management process, again go for defect repair. If everything is okay, then only it will move this way. If anywhere that is error or defect, then that will again come to direct and managed project work. This is actually usual thing, normal thing. So then here customer will accept the deliverables, and that is not accept the deliverables. And these two actually always will be iterative. Why iterative? We are not creating all the deliverables at a time. In a project, in some phases or some weeks, if it is agile project, then every week you will get some deliverables. So every time these two will be fair: control quality, validated scope, and another one, control scope. These three will again and again happen whenever any deliverable is created.
Control quality, verified deliverables, or validated scope. These three.
Control quality, control scope, and validated scope.
Control quality, control scope, and validated scope.
These three will be iteratively done. And main important thing is control quality and control scope will be done by your internal team, your project team. All right. And validated scope, your internal team will demonstrate the product to the customer, and customer will check, inspect, audit, and they will verify. So that is actually validated scope.
Okay. Can you cite an example of this validated scope, real life scenario? I just cannot understand how can in case of car industry, like if how validated scope actually implements, actually works in case of car industry or car manufacturing.
You can think that, say, you will create the body. Just for example, say you will create the body of the car. All right. Yes. So when you are creating the body of the car, then you have to check your quality criteria by your team, yeah. And they will ensure that yes, there is no, as per the customer's request, everything is okay, and there is no error, there is no defect. All right. And control scope, in the middle, actually control scope's main target is you have to satisfy the boundary what is defined in the scope of work. That is actually control scope job. That is also your team's job.
Yeah.
Okay. Then actually you will involve your customer, show the body that I have created this body as per your requirement, as per the scope of work. Is it okay or not?
Okay.
All right. If customer accept that, yeah, the body is accepted. Then say you have set the engine and you have put the engine in the body. Then again you will do the control quality, do the control scope, and also involve the customers finally to check whether the engine is okay or not.
Okay.
So this way it can work.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So let's see. So the same thing I have actually mentioned in table.
Sir, can I ask him a question?
Yeah, please.
Please, can you please back to the first page? The page which is previous to previous page, please.
Yes.
Yeah, this one. So, sir, in here it's a quality control. So quality control after delivery. So what kind of quality that needs to get?
What kind of quality?
Yeah, because here is deliverables, isn't it? So deliverables, quality control should be before deliverables or after deliverables.
Yeah. From your end, noise is coming. I cannot hear clearly.
Yes, sir. Deliverables. Here is deliverables. So quality control is before the deliverables or after deliverables. How I just confused it here. Because here is the direct and manage the project. So after, if we direct and manage the project, then we will get the result. Then how we can control the quality of that result? Because it is almost the developed this kind of result.
The question is not clear. Anybody understood this question?
Sir, suppose we have a factory and we produce some kind of garments or some kind of t-shirt.
Right.
Then after we deliver this kind of t-shirts, then how we control? How we can do the quality control of these t-shirts? Because here is deliverables and here is quality control.
So when you will get t-shirt, there is some built-in quality check.
Yeah.
Before producing t-shirt.
Yeah.
So that will be through another process. There is a process of control assurance that is known as quality assurance. That we will see in quality chapter. So the quality assurance responsibility is to setting the processes. Those actually ensure the product will have the quality that is actually customer is accepted. A customer is mentioned or customer asked for. That will be in quality assurance. That is another process in PMBOK. So quality assurance will assure that the t-shirt is containing all the quality requirements. Okay. So, but after that, another team actually will verify. That is actually control quality. They will verify the t-shirt is okay, but is there any abnormal things, any defect, any error? That will they again check. All right.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. So this way that will work actually. So thank you for your question. Huh? Good question. All right. So the same thing I have actually explained in, as table. Same thing. Okay. Let me discuss about the ITT of validity scope. So can anyone tell me here in input, what is the main input here? There are a lot of inputs we are seeing. What will be the main input here? Can anyone tell me?
The quality report.
Quality report will be a supportive input, but what will be the main input?
Scope baseline.
Requirements.
This is actually also supporting main actually this one 3. Verified deliverables, because you are involving your customer to validate, and this verified deliverable comes from where? Control quality. So after quality checking, you are ensuring that all deliverables are verified or deliverables are verified. So this is the main This is the main input here. And quality report will help. Quality report produce where this will produce quality report. So in this quality report, we will see there is no defect, no error. If there is on any defect, any error, then that will actually again go for repair. But so that's why this is we are taking these two deliverables and also quality reports, whether this actually met our quality requirements or not. And a scope baseline that actually ensure that whether this product, this deliverable is delivered as per the scope of work. All right. So, and another one, see, work performance data. Can you remember, we have talked about three things, right? Work performance data, work performance information, and work performance report. So when we are verifying deliverables, then actually we also need some data. Say you have checked 100 t-shirts. All right, you have checked 100 t-shirt. Within that 100 t-shirt, maybe 98 passed. All are okay, but 2 failed. So this is actually work performance data. So that data will actually help you to measure how your quality is working and how your team is working. So that is known as work performance data. So whenever, please remember, whenever you will see work performance data as input, you will get work performance information in the output. All right. So what is the main tool here? See, only one tool is the main tool, that is actually inspection. That means customer will inspect. So this is a generic term. In software firm, we will say this testing. All right. In manufacturing or somewhere else, we may somehow some industry it is actually like walkthrough, walking through the systems. So that is also inspection. So there are different names in different industries, but PMI actually use the common term inspection. That means these verified deliverables will be inspected by the customer. And if the inspection is okay and customers are satisfied, then they will accept deliverables. So this is the main output, accepted deliverables. But if there is any error, any defect, then that will actually will be change request. And then as per PMBOK, if any change request comes, then you have to go through a formal change management process and you have to perform integrated change control process. All right. So this is the
sorry to interrupt. Basically, from general point of view, this work performance data is some sort of raw data, right?
Raw data, right.
This raw data is coming from direct manage and project work. From there, it is going to this. Yes. So this validated scope thing is done by the external bodies. I mean the customer. So what is the likelihood of having this kind of work performance data in the process, in the validating scoping process? Is it on and off, or is it generic, like this work performance data will go through this from direct manage and project work and then going to the validated scope thing? Is it generic, or it is not very common?
This is actually generic, and in all the control process you will see this thing. All monitoring and control processes, you will see that work performance data is coming as input. And in some places, most probably 2-3 processes, you will see work performance information as input. All right.
Okay.
So this is generic nature. Everywhere when you are involving customer, what happens? There you will get a lot of feedbacks from customer. So that is actually data that you collecting. And after that data, collecting that data, you will make information, or finally you will make reports that will help your team to improve later on.
I mean, the
so
feedback
all the customers.
The feedback from the customers is directly coming from the direct and managed project work to this validated scope thing, right?
Not only feedback, anything, any way you are getting some data, then that is actually work performance data. Feedback is an example actually.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I think nothing to describe. Everything is already discussed. So inspection is the common term, but in some industries you will see this term review or product review, and somewhere you will see walkthroughs. And software team we actually use testing done, or quality checking done. So these are the terms we use. And if there is any confusion related to decision making, that you can use any voting technique. All right, because maybe three customers or three customer representatives accepting your deliverables. All right, so maybe they are actually in conflict. So whether this product met everything or not, met all the requirements or not. So then we can use voting technique. All right. So voting technique can help if there is some problem related to decision making in varied scope process. So this yellow sign is actually the main output is accepted deliverables. And if any defect found, then actually we will go for change request. Okay, last process is control scope. So control scope is, as I mentioned already, control scope is also our team's work. Inside team, the project team will work. They actually, what they do through control scope, a couple of things they will do. First thing is they will check whether as per the scope of work, scope baseline, the scope is delivered or not. Number one. Number two, they'll check is there any need of changing the scope related plan or scope of work or anything. So that if they see any change, then they will do that. All right. Then control scope. Another main two things is scope creeping. To control scope creeping. What is scope creeping? Scope creeping is uncontrolled change or unapproved change. Nobody has given you approval, but you actually add some extra scope in your scope of work. So that thing actually start creeping your scope. It's got to elevate or expand your scope, and that actually also impact on your time, on your budget. So that thing actually known as scope creeping. So please remember, as per PMBOK, scope creeping is a bad thing. So without any analysis, without any approval, you should not take any scope extension, scope request from the customer without any approval, without any analysis. So whenever you get any request for doing any extra thing outside your scope baseline, then first thing you have to actually analyze what is the impact of this extra scope, in your time, in your budget, in your allocated resource, and what are the risks involved with this extra feature. So after analyzing this, as a project manager and project management team, they actually ask for approval to the CCB, Change Control Board. So if they approve, then only you can do work. Otherwise, if you do work, then actually it will create scope creeping. So that thing you should avoid. So next slide. Actually, you will see the definition here. Please remember, in PMBOK, at the end, you will see a appendix related to glossary. So some of the definitions you should read from the glossary, because in the glossary, the definition is very appropriately written and very well actually formulated. So this kind of definitions you should read from the glossary. So also remember, for PMP or CPM exam, you will get a lot of questions from also appendix. So all the definition written in appendix, the glossary, especially the glossary, that you have to read out. So one is control scope, another is goal plating. You should not do any goal plating. What is goal plating? Is it, for example, customer has asked for this one, but you are thinking as a team or as a project team or project manager or project team member, you are providing some extra thing, extra feature, additional feature, which is not in the scope of work and also not requested by the customer. You are doing by yourself. So that is actually goal plating. So this extra feature that which is not asked by your customer, that is known as gold plating. So these two things, scope creeping and gold plating, these two things are bad, and actually you should always try to avoid all these things. Otherwise, you cannot meet project goal, project objective, and project budget and time. So let me discuss about ITTO of control scope. So what will be the main input here? Same question again. What will be the main input here? Can anyone tell what will be the main input here? There are a lot of inputs. Control scope. That means we are trying to control our scope.
Scope baseline, maybe.
Right, scope baseline.
Yeah.
Right? Our scope of work is defined and set here. So this will be our main input, and I will check whether we are delivering within that boundary or not. That's why I see what is the main tool, variance analysis. Is there any variance related to the scope baseline? Refer to scope baseline. So that is the main tool, variance analysis. So we have planned to deliver this, but say we have delivered this, right? So variance. So that analysis will help you to identify whether you are within the boundary or not. So that is the main scope of control scope process, and the main tool is variance analysis. Another important tool is trend analysis. Variance means what? At any time we are seeing this variance happen, but we want to know the trend. That is also known as RAM chart. So say this is the time. In x-axis we are writing time, and in y-axis we are writing, say, scope variance. So we want to see what is happening actually. If the trend is like this, that means the time is going, and also the scope problems are happening. So that is actually bad. We actually expecting this one. There is no variance in a scope and in a scope. So trend chart actually show us, is there anything we need to focus on, concentrate on, which is actually creating some variance in our scope, and why that is happening. So from this trend chart, we can actually identify where is the problem. So this trend chart will help us to find the trend of the control scope or scope delivering process. So that way, trend analysis will help us. All right. So these two are the only tools in control scope. And what is happening here? See, work performance information. As we have taken work performance data, so it is work performance information. And if you see any variance that is not meeting the scope baseline, then we'll ask for change request. All right. So these two are actually main output, and other outputs are actually those documents we have taken here. If after doing this process, if there is any change required, then you can always appreciate it to change. So there is no restriction that you cannot change any plan. At any time, if it is necessary, you can do the planning document update. Okay, so this is all about control scope, and say improving or deteriorating, that analysis will show you, or it is fixed. So this is all about control scope, and the scope chapter is finished. So in the scope chapter, we found we have seen there are 6 processes, 4 in planning process and other 2 in monitoring and control process. Okay. So before starting our project schedule management chapter, let's have a break for 5-6 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes. Then we'll start. All right.
For that, may I ask you a question, sir?
Question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir, what are the components of scope baseline?
What is the content?
Component of scope baseline. I mean, what are the components of scope baseline?
Oh, yeah, there are three components of scope baseline. Let me write it down here. One is actually project scope statement. Another one is WBS, another one is WBS dictionary. So these three are the component of scope baseline.
So statement means description. Project scope statement means project description.
Yes, project scope description or scope of work or terms of reference or.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So we are going for 7-8 minutes break, then we will return back to project schedule management. Okay, so all are with me? All joined?
जी भैया
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so we will start project schedule management. So this iron triangle that I am discussing from the very beginning. So three arms, three sides of the triangle. So this is scope, right? This is time or schedule. And the last one is budget or cost. Cost. So these three things, and some people write scope slash quality, all right, or some actually used to write this quality inside in the triangle. So quality. So these three, four things are core of project management. So we have finished and seen how, as a project manager and project team, we should do the scoping of the project, how we'll define a scope of work. So that we have seen in chapter number 5. Now we are starting chapter 6, chapter 6, which will deal with this project schedule management. That means the project we are planning to do, how much time the project will require to deliver all the scope. The scope we have defined, how much time we need to deliver this scope. So that is the main scope of this schedule management chapter. All right. So what we'll see there are 6 processes. And among these 6 processes, 5 processes are in planning process group. Planning what we will plan, how this thing, how much time we need to deliver the scope. All right. So 5 will be in planning process group and only 1 will be in monitoring and control process group. So this will be the 6 processes. And if you see from this chapter, we'll get finalized or final schedule that will be approved by the sponsor. So that will get from this chapter, schedule baseline. So in earlier chapter, we have got scope baseline. Now from this chapter, we'll get schedule baseline. And this chapter discussion will start with this one. Work package. We'll break down the work package into activities. All right. So this concept, this is the main concept of this chapter. You have to understand, we have created WBS in the last chapter, and WBS is the core of project management because everywhere where WBS will be used. So if I share last class WBS with you that we created last day, let me show you. Can you see the WBS? Last day we have created. Is it visible, that WBS?
ना भैया
Right. Okay. So share screen or share screen. All right. So now?
Yes, sir.
नहीं
Okay. All right. So let me discuss. So in scope chapter, we have actually produced this WBS, work breakdown structure. So now in scope, in schedule chapter, what we'll do, if you can remember, the last component is known as what? Work package, right? So these are work package, right? Here these 3 are work package. Here these 3 are work package, right? And under food, these 2 are work package. So work package means what? That means there are a lot of work inside this package. So from there, actually, the name come. That is actually in work package. There are a lot of tasks or activities inside the work package. Now our duty or our responsibility is to breaking down that work package into activities or tasks. Ultimately, if very simply we want to define what is project actually doing project activities, tasks or activities to accomplish the project requirements or deliverables. So doing the task related activities is actually simply you can define as project. So where from that task will come? That task will come from this WBS. And the lower component and the lowest component of WBS is the work package. So we will break down the work package. For example, here in Venue, we are seeing two work packages, survey and selection. So if you see one thing, here, everywhere, all the components I named as noun or gerund. There is no verb here, see? I use noun or gerund. So now is this is actually rule of thumb, the naming convention. When you will create WBS, you will follow naming convention. The component, work package, everything's name will be gerund or noun. Okay, now say for example, this survey. Now we want to identify what are the tasks or activities. I am mentioning task and activities, both are same thing. In PMBOK, please remember task term is rarely used. Main term is activity. All right, activity. So if we want to identify what are the tasks or activities we need to do to complete this survey work package, can you brainstorm with me? What are the activities we need to accomplish to complete this survey activity? Let me share my white screen. Share white screen, whiteboard. All right, so survey. So this is the work package survey, right? Now, can you tell me what are the activities we need to do to accomplish this survey?
Interview hote pare.
All right. Interview.
আবার questionnaire hote pare, brainstorming hote pare.
No. Please remember survey. Why we are doing survey? We're doing survey for selecting the venue of our conference, the project.
Oh. Okay.
All right. So in that perspective, so we need to finalize our venue for our conference. So what shall we do? First thing we need to do, we need to find out available venues as per our requirements, right? So what can we do? We can search or explore venues, right? For example, we need 500 participants will participate in our conference. All right. So all the venues will not satisfy our requirement, right? And sound system will be there, electricity will be there, internet facility will be there, food serving facility will be there. So all these requirements should met. So first we need to key what? Explore potential venues, right? Let me write in text, that will be more understandable. So explore venues, right? Potential venues. So this is number one, right? Okay. What can be number two? Then research, right? Or what you do? We'll get the venue list, then we'll explore venues, get the venue list. And number two, get the venue list. Number three, compare, compare the venues. Okay. And finally, select the venues. Right? Select not, because there is another work package that is actually selection. So what I can see here, we can make it propose the venue.
Finalize this or propose.
Propose the venue to the approval body so that they can select from those options. So see, if we do this for activity, this one is one, this one second, this third, and this actually fourth. Okay. So if we can do all these 4 activities, then our survey work package will be completed. Have you understood this? Have you got me? So,
Yeah.
yes. So,
Yes, sir.
hey, likewise, you have to divide all the work packages into activities. So if we can do all 4 activities, then survey work package will be done. So what we are doing, we are actually breaking down the work package into activities. And you have to do for all work packages, you have to do this thing. Then what will happen from WBS, you will get all the activities that you need to do to complete your project. Have you understood this concept? So from WBS, we are getting work package. From work package, we are getting tasks or activities. So if we get all the activities of all the work packages, and if we complete the activities, then our project will be completed. All right. So here also you have to, can you remember 100% rule? So when you are breaking work package into tasks, then also you have to focus on 100% rule. If any task missing, any activity missing, if you missed any activity, then this work package will not be successful. All right. So here also you need to apply 100% rule. So now see why WBS is so important, because from WBS we are getting the task or activities of the project. Now, can I go? Are you with me? I am actually now discussing a very important concept. You need to grab and understand this concept. So what we did so far, we have broken down work package into activities. Now, if we can do this thing, say explore venues. Have you seen the naming convention here? I have started with the action verb. Have you seen explore venues? Get the venue list, compare the venue, propose the potential venues. So everywhere I have started with verb, because now I am actually breaking the work package into activities. That's why I have used the naming convention. I have used the verb at the starting of the name. Okay, now explore venues. See, explore venues. Can we find out to do the exploring the venues, how much time we need? We can easily find out, right? So if we search in the internet, on the internet, then we can easily, maybe it can take hardly half an hour or 1 hour, say. Say this will take 1 hour. All right. And how many resources it will require? It is actually a one-man job, maybe. So 1 man, right? All right. See, now, when we are doing this, is there any risks involved? So we can also find risks here also. So we have find resource, we have already found hour. So if we can know the rate of this man, 1 hour rate, say this man takes $20 per hour. All right. So for doing this work, can you tell me how much money required to complete this work? This one. Have you got my question? How much money required to complete this explore venues? সবাই কি শুনতেছেন নাকি?
20 USD.
How 20 USD, right? 1 man, and per man hour is $20. So 1 hour into $20. So we'll get $20. So what is happening when we are doing explore venues? We can easily identify what are the resources required and how much time required to do this, right? And if we know the rate, then also we can find out the cost of this task. So similarly, if I again analyze this and try to find out how much time it will require, and what are the resources required, what type, and how many resources required. And if we know the rate of the resource, then we can also know the time, duration of the activity, and also the cost. Similarly, we can also, similar way, likewise, we can get the time and we can got the dollar value. Similarly, for this task, we can get the time, the resource, and also the dollar value. All right. So, for example, it will take 1 hour. It will take maybe 30 minutes. This will take maybe another 1 hour, and propose that maybe take 15 minutes. So we can easily say for doing this survey, how much time we need. Can you say this from here? How much time we need to do the survey? Complete the survey work package. So see the fantastic thing here. So when we are breaking this way and identifying time, resource, and cost, then we can easily identify one work package duration, right? We can then say how much time it is required to finish the survey work. So we are getting time. We are also getting what type of resource we require and how many resources we require. And also we can find the dollar value of doing survey. All right. So similarly, if we break down other work packages and calculate their duration and add up or use critical path method, then we can easily find out all the activities, all the work packages, duration, and applying network diagram that we will study here, read here, and critical path method will get the project duration. And also we can easily identify what type of resource we need to do the project different activities and how many of the resources we need. And also we are getting the dollar value. That means we are getting the project cost also. When we will add up all the component, all the cost of all the activities, all the work packages, then what we will get? If we add everything, then you also get the budget of the project. So that's why WBS is so critical and prime for the project management. So if you can do the WBS nicely, there is no gap in the WBS. From that WBS, you can get what are the activities you need. And from that activities, you will get time, budget, and resource of the project. So that's why WBS is the core of project management. I think they have understood the concept. So I'm saving this. If you have any question right this moment, you can ask me, because this is the very important question. Because based on this, we'll get the project schedule, we'll get the cost management. In the next chapter, we'll read cost management. That actually come from here, same thing. And resource chapter, we'll read resource. So resource also coming from this thing. So if you have any question right now, any confusion, you can ask me.
Basically, when we'll be evaluating the task here, the dimension would be like time, cost, and resources. These are the 3 dimensions we'll be looking at, right?
These are the 3 dimensions. With this, you also need to find out the quality requirements, because for each activity, maybe there are quality component here. And based on that quality, cost can be associated and also time can be increased. High quality product, high quality activity, time you need to give more time. So that thing also you need to consider, and also the risk. Is there any risks involved here that you need to consider? Otherwise, that risk will actually jeopardize the result of the activity. So these 4 or 5 things we need to consider. Okay, that's right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so if you are not having any question, now I'm going back to my presentation slide. Let me share my screen again. So we are starting project schedule. All right, so That's why actually I have written here work package. We'll breaking down work package into activities in this chapter. All right. Okay, so let's move. So this is actually project schedule management, chapter number 6. This is one of the largest chapters in PMBOK. All right, so 58 pages. 58 pages. All right. So see, there are actually 6 processes, 5 process under planning process group and only 1 in control schedule. So what we are doing here, let me give an overview here. So plan schedule management. This is like actually plan scope management. So here, before doing a knowledge area, starting a knowledge area, you have to plan. Every time I am saying, when you are going to do anything as per PMBOK, first you need to plan. So we are going to start scheduling of the project. Before that, we need to make plan how we will do the scheduling, how we will define activities, how we will sequence, what are the method we use, what are the tool we are going to use. That should be in plan schedule management. What will be the unit? Unit means the schedule will be calculated in days or months or hours or years. Based on your project, you will define that thing in schedule management plan. Then how we will do the estimate activity durations. Then how we will do the develop schedule process. And finally, how do you control your schedule throughout the project so that schedule baseline is not exceeded. The time boundary is not exceeded. If there is a need of exceeding your schedule or extending your schedule, then actually as per PMBOK, you have to take approval from your management or your change control board. So now, first actually you have to do the plan for the schedule. That is actually plan schedule management, and the output of plan schedule management is schedule management plan. And then define activities. So if you just try to understand what is the name is saying, define activities. That means that concept I have just explained to you, that we have to break down work packages into activities. That thing actually will be done here. We will take all the active work packages and we'll break those work packages in activities. This is actually define activities, process scope. Then sequence activities. It is very important, not only breaking down the activities, it is also very important to know the sequence of the activities. What thing you should do first, what thing you should do second, and so on. So that is very important. All right. If you did not do the piling part, you cannot start foundation. If you did not do the foundation part, you cannot make the roof, right? So the sequence is very important, that we will do in sequence activities. So defines activities or not define activities is not enough. We have to also sequence our activities. Then estimate activity durations, that I have already explained. For every activity, we need to find out the duration. The main target of this chapter is what? Finding out duration of the all activities and finding out the duration of the whole project and the start date and finish date of the project. So the project definition consists of what? There will be definite start and finish date. So that we get from this knowledge area. So we'll get durations for each activity. Then develop schedule. That means we will use network diagram, critical path method, mathematical tools, and also we can use software. Using those things, we can create develop schedule, the project schedule of our project. So when the schedule will be completed, we will show the schedule to our management, and if management approve, then that will be our schedule baseline. So this is the concept of planning processes of schedule management. Then execution will start. Then your job is what? Your job is controlling the schedule so that you can deliver your project on time. All right, that is the main focus of control schedule. And if any change requires, that should go through proper change request or change management process. All right, so now let's see what is inside of each processes. So after at the beginning of every chapter you will see key concepts. So what are the key concepts we need to understand? So there is actually a standard from PMI, practice standard for scheduling. There is a more than 100 pages book, how to do proper scheduling for your project management. So if you have time, if you have interest, you can study that. And there is also a certification related to this, PMI, Schedule Management Professional. All right. So you can get the detail from there. So the main concept I have explained already in whiteboard, that is actually here. In WBS, what happens? We broken down the project into sub-components, deliverables. Then at the last stage, we got work package. Now, in this chapter, what we'll do, we'll actually break down that work packages into activities. For example, I have given an example here. Say Karim's wedding. There are two work packages, food and invitation. So we have broken down this food work package into 3 activities, and this and invitation into 4 activities that I have already explained in whiteboard. This is a interesting picture. So this is actually not in the PMBOK in earlier versions. From PMBOK 5th edition, this is included. So this is actually part of that scheduling standard, PMI's scheduling standard book that actually consists this figure. So that is included in the PMBOK from the 5th edition. So what it is saying us, let me explain you. So when we are going to develop our project schedule, what we do, we collect project information. What is project information? The WBS, the activities, and for activities, how many resource, time, duration we need, and what are the dependencies, right? Constraints between the activities, and what calendar we will follow, what will be the milestone of the project. So these are the project information. So after doing define activities, then sequence activities, then estimate activity durations, we will get actually this information, this information. Then what we will do, we will use some scheduling method in develop schedule process. That method is mainly CPM. Globally, everywhere, all the project management software that we are used today, like Microsoft Project or Oracle's Primavera, everywhere the heart or the core engine is actually following the critical path method. So we'll discuss how critical path method we can use, we can apply to develop our project schedule. And you will get 2-3 questions in the exam, PMP or CPM exam, to find out the critical path of your network diagram. So we have not actually seen network diagram or critical path. We'll see this in the later slides, and I will explain you will understand. Then we'll use scheduling tool. So in modern era, we are not actually using the paper or a scale or pencil to draw the network diagram and then calculating the CPM. Rather, we can use any software like Microsoft Project, Oracle Primavera, or anything. But these named are not mentioned in PMBOK. All right, PMBOK just generally mention that you can use any scheduling tool. So using that scheduling tool with this project information, applying this CPM, you can develop schedule model. From that schedule model, you can present the project schedule in different formats. So see, for example, you can use this format. This is actually activity list with dates. Also, you can use this. This is actually classic one, right? Bar chart or Gantt chart we use. So that you can also use. All activities name, start date, finish date, then the Gantt chart. So this is actually mostly used in all the projects, especially big projects. But please remember, in Agile, they actually don't use all this. For them, all these are bullshit. But traditional project management, predictive management, still we are using these things. And network diagram. So we will see how to develop network diagram and how to sequence the network diagram, and how applying CPM method from a network diagram we can calculate critical path. So that we will see in this chapter. So this is the concept of this figure.
Rajay bhai,
Mhm.
In your earlier presentation, I mean the slide, basically the scheduling method, scheduling tool, these are all Venn diagram, right? So basically, which one comes first? I mean, first of all, the circle thing, and then inference drawing through this activity list, bar chart, and network diagram, right? This is how it evolves.
This is the final output actually. Huh? This is the last output, the below one.
Okay.
But first you will need this project information, otherwise you cannot do anything. Then you actually, in scheduling tool, this actually you can use same time. If you use Microsoft project, then the scheduling tool will come first. Then you will input all the project information in scheduling tool. Then you will apply scheduling method, that is CPM, and that will actually produce schedule model. All right. And that schedule model you can present in different ways.
Okay. These are the output.
These are the outputs. And here actually 3 outputs are shown, but if you use Microsoft project, most probably you will get 20 or more than 20 type of presentation of your project schedule. All right.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Okay, so model is the main thing. From model you can generate other things.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. So trends and emerging practices. You will see 2 concepts here. One is iterative scheduling with a backlog. That we discussed in the first chapter. So in Agile, what happens? We keep everything in the backlog, right? And we take the backlog items and start in iteration. At the beginning, we start planning detail. How we will do that, who will do that, how much time it will require. So that thing is actually iteration scheduling with a backlog. Another one is on-demand scheduling. That we also talked, but the name was not same. That is actually Kanban board. That means what we do, we actually use like this type of swim lane. We can say swim lane. Here we can write simply like this, to do. All right. Then this is said in progress of doing. And this can be done. And for each column, we can put the WIP. WIP means work in progress limit. Work in progress limit, we can set. So say in our to-do list, we have 10 items to do. In doing, in bracket, we said in doing, our work in progress limit will be 3. And okay, then what will happen? Your team, if the lane is free, you will take 3 items here. Unless 3 items are finished, done, if 1 item is finished, then what happened? 2 will be there. Then he can pick another one. All right, another item is finished, so he can pick another one. So this is actually on-demand scheduling or pull system. So it is actually not, the time is not driving. In iteration planning, time is driving. Iteration set, time is set 2 weeks. So after 2 weeks, you'll bring from backlog items, the items in your working area. But in on-demand scheduling, unless you have not finished the 3 items, you cannot take any more item here. All right. So it will actually on-demand scheduling or pull system. So you can only pull when there is a scope. That means the limit is 3. So only 2 activities are here. So you can bring another one. Or 2 activities done, then you can, here is only 1, then you can another 2 here. So this way, this on-demand scheduling is work. So these are the things people are now using. All are not using actually Gantt chart, CPM. People are not using nowadays. Especially these actually comes from Agile and Kanban. So this discussion, yes.
On the production floor, basically on-demand scheduling is in practice, right? The production floor.
Right. Yes, right.
Like primary, then secondary manufacturing department, then QC, then final finished goods. This is how it operates. Right? Okay.
Yes, yes. And actually Kanban came from actually Toyota. Toyota and Toyota actually manufacturing company. Okay. So these are interesting tools that you can use also. Huh? If you can see, let me, can you see my, let me change my background. Let me change my background. Can you see my background now? Can you see?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So this is my board,
Yes.
and actually I actually practice this. So this is a lane to do today what I am doing and what I have done today. So this is my Kanban board for my personal management actually. All right.
Great tool.
Yeah. So you can use practicing this. So this is actually very, this is visualized here. So my wife can also see what is happening. All right. So I am busy with what? Or I am actually just seeing movie. So you know what I'm doing actually.
Yeah.
So you can also use this. So we are actually today studying time management. That's why this sent Bali Horina. All right. Okay. So let's move. Tailoring considerations. Every time you need to tailor. Huh? Think about tailoring. This is very important. Life cycle approach, resource availability. If resource is not available, a scarce resource, then you have to think differently. Then project dimensions, size of your project, that is very important. Then also size and also complexity. In complex projects, actually is generally in knowledge work type project and complex project, we use generally agile approach. Technology support. We are saying we can use Microsoft Project, Primavera, or other software tools. So if you have that support from your organization or you have the ability, then you can use technology support. In Agile, there is an interesting term. Interesting term. Term name is low tech, high touch. High touch. In Agile, though Agile came from software field, software industry, but they actually prefer low tech, high touch. Like my background, where I can easily touch my activities. I can move my touch activities. I can delete. I can write. So this is actually everyone can do. You need not to be a technically savvy guy. So this approach is, and this is actually create visualization, transparency to the whole organization. If you, for your project, if you showcase this thing, this type of board, what you are doing, what you are already done, what is in your to-do list, what is in your backlog. So everyone can see this. So they actually prefer low tech, high touch things, so that the visualization of transparency is open to everyone of the team and also for the sponsors and stakeholders. Okay. Okay, Agile. All right. So I think already we have discussed a lot of things about Agile. And there is a section in this chapter, how Agile actually do the scheduling. There is an interesting figure that I will describe. Huh? All right. So this is the plan schedule management process. So from the name, we can easily understand the output of this process will be schedule management plan. All right. And this is the planning process, if you can remember or if you can compare, so all knowledge areas, first process is planning process, first process. And you will see these three tools and techniques everywhere. You have to use expert judgment, plan actually done by whom? The experts. So expert judgment you can use, always plan for alternatives, not fix only one thing. that will create failure chance, then always do meeting with your team. Don't plan by yourself only. Involve your team as and when required. That is very, very important. Otherwise, you will not get buy-in. Then what you need to do, you have to sell your idea. But if you involve everyone, then automatically everyone will be involved because they will be responsible for the plan. But if you personally make this, then you have to sell this idea, sell this plan to others. That is very difficult. Selling is very difficult, please remember. So we'll get schedule management plan, and project charter will help us because in project charter we have high level project schedule. All right, scope management plan will help because scope will actually help us to develop the schedule. And these 3-4 will be always you need to consider. Development approach, that means whether you are going to use agile or hybrid or what. So that will actually help you to plan this schedule management plan. So let's see what is the content of schedule management plan. So in the schedule management plan, you will have these things: project schedule model development. The figure I have shown you, how that the model you are going to develop, that description will be in the planning. Level of accuracy. For high risk or high sensitive project, maybe level of accuracy of every activity is very critical. So that you need to ensure. So for example, you are working with a satellite system that will actually work. So there actually every activity's time is very, very crucial. So how much level of accuracy you need for this project, that is important, and that you need to write here. Unit of measures, at already mentioned, whether we are going to measure our duration in day, month, week, or hours. Then organizational procedural links. That means if this is actually EF, right? OPA. If there is any guideline from the organization, then you have to follow that. All right, and your duty is not only creating the model, you have to also maintain the model throughout the project. That is very important. In Bangladesh, you will see people are creating Gantt chart at the beginning of the project. And when project starts running, that Gantt chart actually nobody is following, nobody is maintaining, nobody is updating. So you have to update your schedule. Otherwise, there is no point of doing that. Then control threshold. Your sponsor, your management may set control threshold. Say your project or for a activity, you can have delay for plus minus 2 days, not more than that. So those things threshold you need to identify. All right, and how we will measure your project schedule performance. That reporting format, or there is if any format you have in your organization that you need to use. And also you can use some mathematical tool, schedule variance and schedule performance index. This mathematical tool is known as earned value analysis or earned value management. So in next chapter, in cost management chapter, I will actually discuss detail on earned value management. There actually I will cover this scheduling performance related earned value matrices and also cost related matrices. So this earned value can help you mathematically to understand your project schedule performance. All right, so every process, you will see every process is associated with this type of data flow diagram. What does it mean? That means that we are doing the project plan schedule management, output is project management plan, and inputs, where from these inputs are coming. All right, so project charter is the input, it is coming from develop project charter. And we are using 2 components of project management plan that is actually coming from the detailed project management plan. And this enterprise EF and OPA is the internal and external things that you need to consider when you are creating project management plan, schedule management plan. All right. So now next process, define activities. Already this concept is explained, and I think you all understood. So we have to define activities mean what? We have to take each work package and decompose to breaking down those 2 into activities. Likewise, we did in the whiteboard, the survey. We have broken down the survey into 4 activities. The same concept is showing here, and the responsibility or scope of different activities is to taking each work package and decomposing those work packages into activities. And those activities you will keep in an activity list document. All right. So if you see the tools and techniques, ITTO, so define activities. See, main tool is decomposition. Can anyone tell me where we have seen this decomposition tool? In which process we have seen this decomposition tool? Can anyone tell me? In last chapter, scope chapter, we have seen this. Where? কেউ বলতে পারবেন যে আমরা ডিকম্পোজিশন টুলটা এর আগে কোথায় ইউজ করছিলাম, কোন প্রসেসে? কার মনে নেই?
জি না স্যার।
দেখেন একটু, যে আমরা যে ক্রিয়েট ডাব্লিউপিএস করলাম না, ক্রিয়েট ডাব্লিউপিএস, সেখানে কি করছিলাম আমরা? স্কোপ স্টেটমেন্টকে ভেঙে আমরা ডাব্লিউপিএস তৈরি করছিলাম, সেখানে তো আমাদের ডিকম্পোজিশন ছিল। So we have used decomposition in create WBS process. So again, what we are doing now, we are actually going deep. There actually we break down the scope statement into WBS. Now we are breaking down WBS or work package into activities. So the same thing we are doing decomposition. And also I have described there rolling web planning. Rolling web planning, please the definition, please see from the glossary. So the rolling web planning definition is the near-term things. Those things are coming near. That actually you will break down in detail. But those tasks or those work package is not in the future terms. Say in the next year it will come. And it also depend on other work packages or other activities. Successful completion of other work packages or activities will define those future terms activities or processes, activities or work packages. So those things you will break in future, decompose in future. So that is known as rolling web planning. So you have to go detail near terms for the near term work packages, and for future term work packages, you will break them down in the next stage or next time, not right this moment. So what you are getting after this different activities process, we are getting mainly three things. One is activity list. So what will happen? We will break down the work package and we will get the activities, and we'll write down all activities in the activity list. So if we in a project, if we are having say 50 work packages, and for each work package we have on an average broken down into 5 activities. So how many activities in our project? 250, right? 250. So if you can complete these 250 activities, your project will be completed. So this is actually activity list. Listing all the activities in your activity list document. Then see, in activity list, there is no actually description, just only the name. In our case, what is mentioned? We mentioned that explore venues. So that is actually not meaning anything. So activity attributes means what we need now. You need to describe the each activity. What is the description? What the description means? Description means the title of the activity. Then what are the what type of resource required, right? And how many resources required? Then how much time it will require? What are the risks? Then is there any activity you need to do before that? That means predecessor. Is there any predecessor? Is there any successor of that activity? Successor means after doing this activity, what activity we need to do? That is actually successor. So this detailed thing should be in activity attribute. So if you can resemble with WBS and WBS dictionary. So WBS is just at a graphical presentation of your component, but the description research in WBS dictionary. Similarly, activity list is the list, but for description of all the activities, you have to maintain activity attributes. All right. So one document I have shared with you, workbook. So in that workbook, in the last pages, you will see templates for WBS dictionary and also for activity attributes. So if you can see those two documents, those templates, you can understand what are the content of WBS dictionary and activity attributes. And also you have to find out the milestone. In these activities, in these 250 activities, what are the milestone activities? In our school, what happens? Every year we provide annual exam, right? But now government has set 3 milestones. Class 5, PSC, right? Then JSC, then SSC. So in our 10 years life, these are the 3 main milestones. So in projects, you will also find out this type of milestone. So milestone is why important? Because management actually want to follow up milestones, not every detail of the task, right? They are not having the time. So milestone is very important. Milestone means we have achieved a big success or big event after 3 months or after 6 months. So that is actually known as milestone. So what will be the milestone activities that you need to also find out among these 250 activities? So these 3 are the actually main input. And change request, most probably change request not come in the first iteration. In the second iteration, maybe change requests come. Maybe you have broken down one work package into 4 activities, but when you start working, you see that one activity was missed. So you are adding that activity. So that way, change requests can come. All right. And in iteration, we have not created schedule baseline, right? We have not created cost baseline. So first time it will not come actually. When you will identify new tasks, new activity or new things, or scope is increased, something like that, then actually you have to update your scope baseline because that will have impact on your scope and also cost. So what we have already seen, if you increase some scope, what will happen? There will be always some impact on time and also on what? Cost. So that's why these are actually related. So if anything will change, then always we have to check and back this thing, whether it has impact in scope, time, or cost. You have always check and balance. All right. So this is the process, and this green means actually these 2 are very important. You will get 1 questions from each tools. All right. So please clearly try to understand all those tools. And these 3 are the main output: activity list, activity attributes, and milestone list.
Rajay bhai, will we be getting the schedule baseline and cost baseline in the first iteration of different activities as an output?
No, second iteration, not first iteration.
So project management plan updates will come in the second iteration.
Yes, those baselines actually.
Okay.
But it is shown here because this will be repeated when the next iteration will come. Okay. All right. So last process for today, sequence activities. So what I have already mentioned, it is not enough only to find out the activities. We need to know the sequence. What activity we need to do first, what activity we need to do second, what we need to do third, and what is the constraint, what are the dependencies among the activities. That thing you need to understand. All right. So in project, every task is not happen at the same time, right? We do follow some sequence. So that is the purpose of sequence activities. So we have got, for example, 250 activities. Now we need to understand all those activities. What is the dependency? Which activity is predecessor? Which activity is successor? What activities we can do parallelly? What we must do parallelly? So these things we need to understand, and that is the job of sequence activities. So what will be the input here? Main input will be these three things, mainly activity list, activity attributes, and milestones that we identify in the last process. So now we will take these 250 activity list that is already in these three project documents, and what you will do, you will do apply some math technique, tools and technique. So one tool is precedence diagramming method, or you can say it PDM, precedence diagramming method. All right. So this technique actually used in all the softwares, and also whenever we try to draw any network diagram, we use actually precedence diagramming method. How this name actually came, that I actually mentioned when I'll explain in the next slides. Then we'll also see dependency. What are the dependency? Try to find out. Then leads and lags. That is another important concept. Then also project management information system. That is actually talking about the software. So if you are not having any software, no problem. You can use your paper and pen and paper. So after applying all this on this 250 activity list, for example, we'll get a network diagram, project schedule network diagram. All right. So I will show you how to draw a network diagram. And while you are doing this process, you may need to update that you have taken here as input that need to be updated, maybe. Okay, so let me discuss all these things. For CAPM exam, all these tools are very important. And without understanding these tools, actually you cannot understand the later processes of this knowledge area. All right, so I am talking about precedence diagramming method. So for example, let me give you the example. Say A, B, C are three activities. All right, just three activities, A, B, C. So what does it mean by this? If we put an arrow here, that means A is the predecessor of B. That means before doing B, we need to complete A, right? Then C is the predecessor, B is the predecessor of C, right? And vice versa, we can say like this, B is the successor of A, and C is the successor of B, right? So this is the concept of predecessor and successor. So predecessor is the previous task and successor is the afterward task. So precedence diagramming method is seeing the precedence. That means the previous task, previous activity, we can determine what will be our next activity. So applying this simple formula, we can draw the network diagram. All right, so I will show you how to draw using this method. The concept is this. So predecessor and successor, and the earlier task is known as predecessor and afterward task is known as successor. Okay. See here, if we draw a network diagram like this is actually a network diagram. What is here in the network diagram? There is a start milestone and there is a finish milestone, and all the activities. This is the example activities. So choose dates. Then after choosing date, we can finalize the guest list for our event. For example, our conference event. So first we have to select date. If we don't select the date when the event will happen, then you cannot actually finalize guest list and send invitation, right? Because in the invitation there will be mention of the dates and times. So you have to choose date and times. So this is the predecessor. If you don't do this, you cannot do this. All right. And in this path, you see, first you have to search or explore venues, and then from those venues you can finalize the venues or select venues, right? And then you can finish the job. So see here what I have written here. Network diagrams put project tasks into perspective. So if you don't draw the network diagram, don't draw the relationship between these, the tasks, then actually you cannot understand what is happening when what is happening, right? So that's why network diagram is very important to make project sheet. Okay, so now we are actually going to see dependency determination and integration, the logical relation between tasks. We need to find out what are the relationship between the tasks. So there are actually 4 kind of relationship you may find in the task. So what are those? One is actually finish to start. What does it mean? Activity A and activity B. If you draw an arrow from activity A to B, so that means what? Finish to start. If you cannot finish activity A, you cannot start activity B. That is actually known as finish to start. So to start activity B, you have to first finish activity A. So this is abbreviation is FS, finish to start. This activity need to finish, then you can start this. Then second type of relationship you can see, you can find in the task, that is start to start. You may have some tasks that you have to start at the same time. When you are starting activity A, at the same time you have to start activity B. Right? It happens, right? When we are doing project activities, we will get a lot of activities that you need to start at the same time. So that is actually a start to start. So for simplicity here, actually we have used 2 tasks only. But in the real life, it can also have 3, 4, 5 tasks. At the same time, maybe 5 tasks you need to start. This relationship is known as third one. This is third one. Finish to finish. That means when predecessor activity finishes, at the same time, successor activity need to finish. All right. So this is finish to finish. That means maybe A start. This can also happen like this. Like this. That means A is here. Sorry. A is here. That means A started here. But say B started actually after 1, 2, 3 days. But if there is relation between these 2 tasks F, that means both these 2 tasks need to finish at the same day. Whenever those started is not important. Important is both these tasks need to finish at the same day. So that is actually finish to finish. And another relationship is found, or you can see in the activities, that is actually just opposite to this finish to start. That is actually start to finish. That means the predecessor, the successor activity, when the successor activity finishes, then only predecessor activity can start. So that is actually just opposite to this finish to start process relationship. So 2 important things you have to remember. One thing is mostly used. Generally, we use this one, finish to start. This is the mostly used relationship between the tasks. That means we do the jobs to the tasks sequentially. All right. Whenever you are doing A or start to start or start to finish, you see some of the time we need to do the works in parallel. Some portion of 2 tasks we need to do parallel. All right. So where you will use these 2, that is actually depend upon your task and upon your need. It will vary depending upon your project and activities. All right. And this 4th number, this is actually rarely used in the project. All right. So sometimes a simple question comes, which relationship type generally used in the project? So always remember the sequential, the series or finish to start relationship is mostly used in the project. Okay. All right. So I think this can be the last slide. This can be the last slide for today. Dependency determination and integration. So last slide we have seen the relationship, and therefore there can be 4 relationships: finish to start, start to start, finish to finish, and last one is start to finish. Now let me discuss about dependency. What are the dependency among the tasks? So there can be 4 types of dependency. One is mandatory dependency. If you can find there is some mandatory dependency between the tasks or among the tasks. For example, if you have not completed the foundation of a house, you cannot do the roof casting, right? Roof casting. So first you have to finish the foundation, then you can do the roof casting or framing. So this is mandatory. You cannot skip this. You cannot do this earlier, then this. No, always you have to follow this. That's why this is known as hard logic. All right. So this is hard logic, mandatory dependency. Second one was discretionary dependency. There are 2-3 tasks. They have dependency, but that is discretionary. Discretionary means what? The meaning of discretionary is ichhadhin, oichik, Bangla bolo oichik, but optional. So it will actually based on your experience, your expertise, your team's expertise, what we will start first and what we will do in the second. So it will depend upon your preference, right? So this is actually known as preferential logic or soft logic or preferred logic. So based on your discussion, your preference, you can select what task you will start first and what task you will start second. For example, in Bangladesh, what do you do? After rising from sleep in the morning, we start brushing our teeth, right? We start brushing our teeth. And some people actually practice what? After breakfast, they brush their teeth. So that is actually preference, right? Yeah. So someone before breakfast to the brush the tooth, and some actually prefer after breakfast brushing the tooth. So that is actually discretionary type of discussion. All right. So which one is actually healthier? Please remember, after breakfast, brushing your tooth is healthier because you'll then actually every thing actually you're cleaning from your teeth. Okay. External dependency. What is external dependency? That is actually not depend upon your team. Say government regulations. So today, I think everyone knows that today was our last day of income tax submission date. All right. So whatever you do, you have to finish by today. So this is actually external dependency. Any government regulations or weather or climate change. So these are the actually external dependency. So as a project team, we cannot do anything. Another number 4 is internal dependency. What is internal dependency? That means, for example, you are having 5-6 teams in your project. So one team actually set up the hardware. All right. And another team's responsibility is to set up applications of software in the hardware, on the hardware. So this application team cannot start installing their software, their operating system or apps in the system unless your hardware installation team doesn't complete the installation. So both are your team, but you have to depend on your other team's completion to start this work. So that is known as internal dependency. All right. So please remember these 4. You will get at least 1-2 questions from these 4. And also in the last slide, we have studied the relationship, right? This, you will get another 1-2 questions from this slide. All right. So this is all for today. 381 number slide we have completed today. So this is the end of today's class. So if you have any question, any confusion, you can ask me. I'll be here for a couple of minutes.